All right, let's get started. We are now at day 22. And if you've watched the previous episodes, I talked about how every day, more than 5 days, is now a bonus. And that we do this intentional moving the goalpost. We do it on purpose to keep ourselves in that demoralization or head of the demoralization curve. That's what I talked about, right? This idea of having a demoralization curve. And we said that doing things should be fun and they should keep you in flow, that they should be interesting to your brain and they should be difficult enough where you have to, for it to remain interesting, but not so hard that you get bored with it. Okay. Or that you don't feel challenged. Okay. So, what we're going to do is finish the travel writer episode. Actually, I should actually call this part two. Can I edit this somewhere? No, I cannot. All right, I'm gonna pull up the mind map. You guys bear with me for 1 minute. All right. So last night we looked at the some typical judgments that could prevent you from becoming a travel writer when you it's like when you're um that movie A Christmas Story where the main character wants a certain type of bolt action rifle and everybody keeps telling him what's the thing that they all keep saying even when he goes to get his picture taken with Santa Claus and tell him his wish. They all say, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid." Right? So this is all um, uh, plays on the same issue, which is not having a tough filter and having negative judgments come through very easily. And where we take, the worst example, the worst example is something I learned about, and it's called having a reflexive sense of self. And what that means is I figure out who I am from everybody else. So if you don't have anything to meet other people's judgments and their looks and their laughs and the little dumb remarks people make, or even the people who actually are our loved ones may tell us these things to sort of um, thinking that they're keeping us safe or that they're blocking us from disappointment. In reality, they're blocking you from opportunities to grow. You have to try things and fail to grow. So, so we said, what are some examples of that? You would never travel, you can't afford to travel, you don't have time, right? And we can start saying these things to ourselves. So that's the real insidious thing about these negative self judgments is that we then start doing it to ourselves in the absence of that person, right? So it's really us because we could decide, um, no, we're not doing that, or no, that's not acceptable, right? And we do that all the time. Don't forget, you've already done it. When you were 4 years old and somebody says, "Do you want to eat this rice or this bread or this?" And you say, "No, I don't want that. I want to eat chips or I want to eat ice cream," right? So it's very easy for us to do it because we don't get, knocked out for it. But over time, you can build up some fear and judgments around just plainly asking for what you want, right? I talked a lot about Manuel Smith's book, "When I Say No, I Feel Guilty." When I was on the Josh Boone show last week, and it's the same idea, same idea. All right. So watch this. We said if the goal is, if I dropped you out of a helicopter into New York City, you'd have one day to become a travel writer, right? So the main concept you are going to be doing is shake the tree. Shake the tree and poke the box is the same thing, right? And get lateral. Looking across industries is like literally um, the the example of, and there's an actual term, lateral thinking, and it's your ability to think across bubbles, you know. um yeah, so I should move this here and move this here. Yeah, I think that's better. What do y'all think? Yeah, I think this is better. All right. Then, playing with our definitions. What is travel? What is it? What does it mean to be a travel writer, right? What is travel? um, be a travel writer. And what's cool about this process is once we start thinking like this, things pop up. So I mentioned uh, Huell Hauser. I'm from California. There was a show on public access called California's Gold, right? And Hauser was the host, and he would just go to different places within California, different restaurants and parks and community centers, neighborhoods, downtowns, and he would just talk to people, just the obscure things you never off the beaten path parts of California, right? So that was a show called California's Gold, and that was on public access. That means very little budget, maybe one camera person, one mic person. Actually, he'd hold the mic, right? So it's probably just one camera person, cameraman traveling with him, and that's a show. And he's a travel columnist, right? We don't have to necessarily write to be writers, right? So watch this. And if we want to promote ourselves very quickly, all we do is some AI transcription of of our um, of our videos. There you go. And from that, you get all the content you need. Um, all the content for all the channels. So I'll be on social media. Um, right. So let's channels. Just so we have an idea of what we all have to deal with is TikTok, or what we have to work with. You could post it to TikTok. You could post content on LinkedIn. You can make LinkedIn, there's posts and then there's articles, right? So there's posts and then articles. And all you have to do is break up an article, break up an article, right? Um, and and there you get content to it by which you can make posts and send people to those articles. So now you start to gain subscribers, right? You could do all of this in one day. You can record videos, record your interviews, right? Record everything. You like Huell Hauser, and just walk around with a camera guy and just start recording videos, right? and we said we're in business the minute we start interviewing people, the minute we start talking to people. That's content. That's stuff that we can then talk about and write about. So we can write our own reviews, write about local travel, right? We can write our own uh, reviews. And that's another way that you could get your word out, that people can see that you are writing about travel. You can send it off to all the magazines, right? You could send off to magazines, right? Travel magazines, right? And from that, what will happen is that you'll end up probably getting hired as a travel writer, right? Writer. And from there, you'll start traveling for free. Say now at this point, you're getting paid to travel. Look at that. So you see how we spun up very quickly, how you can become a travel writer in one day. If I dropped you off in New York City with just your phone, making videos on your phone and uploading them to YouTube and Google Drive and TikTok or Facebook, whatever, right? You can do this. All the main question is this in creating is let me fix this, is how many hours can you work, right? So if time is a vector, so it's about vectors, vector things we can tweak, right? We can tweak time, compression, or expansion, right? So we 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 can tweak how fast or slow we do things, or do we do things in small increments like 5 minutes? So for example, are your videos 5 minute snapshots of a local town in New York, a local neighborhood or area of New York City, or is it long form? Make sense? So the snapshot uh, versus long form, right? Another thing we can tweak is time spent, right? So if you want to speed things up, we can just spend more time on it. But we've now found our main target is, I'm gonna move this up because I want to get to um, the goal. Yeah, the goal. So now we know what our target is. We can pick as a target how many hours we want to work. The amount of hours we work is the amount of content we can create, which gives us a certain amount of ability to sort of seed the internet with our content. John Reese calls this let's see. John Reese calls this um, owning more of the internet, right? So one way that we can very quickly be omnipresent and sort of shore up any other promotional activities we're doing. Maybe we're doing ads, right? Maybe we're on TV, or maybe we're featured in a magazine. Maybe we're featured in a print magazine and a few travel blogs, right? So let's add that in there, right? At this point, you can partner with travel blogs. And that will be another way that you can, let me take down this banner because there we go. There we go. There we go. That's working better. All right. So we can do time spent. We can just grind for hours, for example, grind for hours. The model I'm doing is just show up for a small amount of time every day to get my reps in, and what I do tells me about who I am, right? So, um, form snapshot, you know, snapshot, snapshot. Wow, how many people were going crazy over that typo? I didn't even realize it. So vectors, intensity, right? Intensity. So the best example of that on YouTube at least is like Dan Pena. So Dan Pena initially put out small amount of videos, but he's cussing and raging and saying crazy things. So his stuff spread really quickly, you know, among the people who want to either be solopreneurs or who want to run companies and businesses one day, right? So you can intensity, time spent, compression, right? Um, the amount of risk you take. So you can play with risk. You can uh, do like publicity stunts, for example. Publicity stunts, right? Like that woman who was recently removed from an airplane because she's saying that somebody in the back is not real, right? She turned out to be like a marketing consultant. So you can do, uh, you could be very sort of low key, low risk, and publish articles on like um, Substack or Medium, right? Let me just add that in there, Medium, right? Or we can throw an event. We could get together partners and throw an event, or we could use Meetup and create actual in-person meetups, right? So we can uh, publish online. That's low risk, right? And then another risk is a publicity stunt. Another risk is getting out in front of people and maybe doing a you know doing a local NYC uh, travel or walk group, right? Like a tour group, walking tours, right? We can start selling people walking tours after that, and it goes on and on and on, right? But what you start with is the actual thing. So for example, what I mean by that is if you want to be a travel writer, then travel. If you want to be a travel writer, travel. Like get in your car and drive 30 miles away to a new town and then go and walk around and then write about it, right? You don't have to wait till you get hired somewhere. You don't have to wait till you've done real travel. Well, what's real? Oh, you have to go to another continent. Says who? So that's another made up rule, right? That we've imposed on ourselves, made up. Nobody told you. Nobody technically told you that. We invented that. So the faster we can get all of these rules out of our head, and the faster you can just go straight to the thing that you actually want, right? What does it mean to be a travel writer? So back to that question, right? What if, as a possibility, because we're creating possibilities here, right? What if we just decided, we are going to make a show about just the 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 region, and we're going to partner again. Another partner bubbles up. You um, cities have marketing and ad budgets as well. So if you want to write a favorable review of the city, that's another place where your content could possibly be hosted and spread out, right? Because partners, another thing, so actually should add that vectors, network, so network, right? Sharing, and then higher level is partners, right? Partners. Another level is affiliates. So these are people who, this is like at like this is like master level. This is, don't even think about that right now. Just think about sharing, get your idea out with people. Affiliate is, say for example, you have a shoe store, and and uh, you allow other people to sell your shoes on your behalf, and you get a little commission from that, right? So that's an affiliate program. And often when you're looking at Google ads or Facebook ads, often these are affiliate ads for other people's products, right? But people get a tiny commission from it. And so that way, people if you have affiliates over time, again, this is not first gear, this is fifth gear. If you have affiliates, they're selling your stuff for you to their customer list, right? All right. So I think we have successfully handled how to become a travel writer, like in one day. Okay. So I'm going to end this. And again, my name is Zaid. And if you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, go ahead and come in and let me know what you're working on. Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream.